Hello and welcome to Freedom News, the news you can use to help keep Canada free. This just in, Sunday, April 7th, 2019. Justin Trudeau threatens to sue Andrew Scheer for SNC-Lavalin criticism. Andrew Scheer went live on Sunday and released a letter from Justin Trudeau's lawyers threatening to sue the opposition leader. Quote, "1 week ago, I received a letter from a lawyer representing Justin Trudeau threatening to sue me for my criticisms of his actions in the SNC-Lavalin corruption scandal," end quote, said Scheer. "After careful consideration, I was advised that Mr. Trudeau's complaints were without merit. I stand by every single criticism I have made of Mr. Trudeau's conduct in regards to the scandal, including those Mr. Trudeau's lawyer cites in his letter. They are all based on the facts," end quote. In the letter, now publicly available, Justin Trudeau's lawyer, Julian Porter, threatens Scheer with legal action over comments he made in a press statement titled "Andrew Scheer Issues Statement on Jody Wilson-Raybauld's Document." Quote, "Your statement in its entirety is beyond the pale of fair debate and is libelous of my client personally and in the way of his occupation as Prime Minister," end quote, reads the letter. Trudeau should know what he's getting into. He will face questioning under oath for hours so that we can get to the bottom of this, end quote, Scheer says. Quote, "He will also have to produce documents that demonstrate his true motives in helping his corporate friends avoid consequences. I am confident in my case and I will continue demanding the answers Canadian deserves," end quote. Addressing Scheer's statements on political interference, the legal notice claims that his comments were untrue. Quote, "There is no evidence that suggests that there has been any actual interference with SNC-Lavalin's criminal prosecution," end quote, reads the letter. According to Trudeau's lawyer, the legal action would be pursuant under Section 5 of the Libel and Slander Act of Ontario. Andrew Scheer says in a tweet, where he also posts the letter, "I stand by every single criticism I have made of Justin Trudeau's behavior in the scandal. If Trudeau intends to sue me, if he believes he has a case against me, he should get on with it." This is the letter my lawyer sent to Justin Trudeau today. It's dated today's date, April 7th, 2019. In his response letter, Scheer's legal counsel denies all claims of libel. Quote, "The Prime Minister's complaint is entirely without merit. It is profoundly disappointing that the Prime Minister is seeking to silence debate on matters of such great public importance," end quote, reads the response. Quote, "If the Prime Minister actually intends to commence a lawsuit, he should proceed with it immediately," end quote. Here I have the letter sent by Justin Trudeau's lawyer to Andrew Scheer, dated March 31st, 2019, with prejudice. Just to Mr. Andrew Scheer, Office of the Honourable Andrew Scheer, MP, House of Commons, Ottawa, Ontario. As Dear Mr. Scheer, I represent Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. On March 29th, 2019, you issued a press statement titled "Andrew Scheer Issues Statements on Jody Wilson-Raybould Documents." You published that statement online, including on your Twitter account and Facebook page, in both English and French. As you would have expected, your statement was in turn republished in whole or in part by members of the Conservative Party caucus, including by both Aaron O'Toole and Peter Kent. Your statement was also published throughout Canada by a vast variety of media outlets, of which you are aware, in both English and French. The statement contained highly defamatory comments about Prime Minister Trudeau. The Prime Minister supports wide-ranging and vigorous political debate on matters of public policy. However, your statement in its entirety is beyond the pale of fair debate and is libelous of my client personally and in the way of his occupation as Prime Minister. In particular, number one, as regards to paragraph 2 of your statement, these documents and recordings are concrete evidence that proves Justin Trudeau led a campaign to politically interfere with SNC-Lavalin's criminal prosecution. End quote. This was meant and understood to mean that my client politically interfered with SNC-Lavalin's criminal prosecution. That is entirely false. There is no evidence that suggests that there has been any actual interference with SNC-Lavalin's criminal prosecution. We know that is to be false. There indeed was. Quote, he personally gave the orders, and when the former Attorney General refused to follow them and break the law, she was fired. End quote. This was meant and understood to mean that my client personally subverted the judicial process to interfere with a criminal prosecution and by instructing the former Attorney General to break the law. When she refused, he acted with malice and an improper purpose in changing Ms. Wilson-Raybould's portfolio. That is entirely false. Item number 2. As regards to paragraph 3 of your statement, quote, Ms. Wilson-Raybould repeatedly told the Prime Minister and his top officials that their actions were entirely inappropriate and amounted to political interference. Despite her objections, the clerk of the Privy Council pressured her and made it clear that her job was on the line. End quote. This was meant and understood to mean that the Prime Minister had been informed by Ms. Wilson-Raybould that his actions were entirely inappropriate and amounted to political interference, and he falsely pretended to be unaware of her position. This is entirely false. No, that assertion is completely entire false, as Trudeau had made blatantly clear just the other day on April the 5th. I believe that was, no, that would have been Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2019, when Pierre Poilievre questioned him, and he admitted to having that conversation with Miss Jody Wilson-Raybould. Item number 3, as regards paragraph 4 of your statement, quote, Justin Trudeau also told Canadians what he knew to be false. He knew that his Attorney General had serious concerns about his plan to get SNC-Lavalin off of serious criminal charges, but he looked Canadians in the eye and told them that no one had raised concerns with him. This is false, and he owes Canadians an explanation. End quote. This was meant and understood to mean that Prime Minister Trudeau lied to the public, and he did, when he told the public that no one had raised concerns when he knew the fact that Ms. Wilson-Raybould had raised concerns with him. That is entirely false, as confirmed by Mr. Warnick's recent statement. No, by raise of the issue brought forward in the House of Commons in question period on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019, the statement made by Andrew Scheer is completely factual. Item number 4. As regards paragraph 5 of your statement, quote, the entire SNC-Lavalin scandal is corruption on top of corruption on top of corruption. 2 cabinet ministers have resigned on principle, and both Justin Trudeau's top political advisor and his top civil servant have resigned in disgrace. The Prime Minister has lost the moral authority to govern and must resign. End quote. This was meant and understood to mean that Justin Trudeau had engaged in dishonest and corrupt conduct that would contravene the Criminal Code of Canada. It was also meant and understood to mean that the Prime Minister engaged in fraudulent conduct in performing public acts for his own purpose, which acts constituted an abuse of legitimate power. It was further meant and understood to mean that he was individually the creator of the worst political conduct possible, being corruption, which is deserving of a criminal penalty up to 14 years incarceration. That is entirely false. Sorry, Mr. Solicitor, you need to go back to law school, because everything that Scheer has said concerning all this is 100% true. And if it damn well be 14 years of incarceration, then that is what the Prime Minister deserves. This letter will be referred to in any subsequent action and is to be treated as a notice pursuant to Section 5 of the Libel and Slander Act of Toronto. Yours truly, Julian Porter, QC. Well, Mr. Julian Porter, QC, you are as incompetent as the Prime Minister. Here I have the letter that was issued by Andrew Scheer's lawyer to the lawyers of Justin Trudeau. Dated today, April 7th, 2019, by email. Dear Mr. Porter, regarding Trudeau versus Scheer, I have been retained by the Honorable Andrew Scheer regarding your libel notice of March 31st. The Prime Minister's complaint is entirely without merit. It is profoundly disappointing that the Prime Minister is seeking to silence debate on matters of such great public importance. Mr. Scheer will not be intimidated. As the leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition, he is performing his constitutional duty to hold the Prime Minister and his government to account. If the Prime Minister actually intends to commence a lawsuit, he should proceed with it immediately. Mr. Scheer will defend vigorously and will press for the expedited determination of the action. Mr. Scheer looks forward to obtaining the Prime Minister's evidence under oath and having this matter heard in open court. The Prime Minister must immediately take steps to preserve all relevant documents, including electronic communications, notes of meetings, and other materials. He should immediately notify all members of his government involved in this matter, past and present, that they can expect to be called to testify. If the Prime Minister does not commence the lawsuit as he has threatened, Mr. Scheer will conclude that the Prime Minister has properly acknowledged that Mr. Scheer's statements were appropriate and grounded in evidence before the Canadian people. Yours truly, Faskin Montagneux du Moulin, LLP. And to this I have to say, way to go, Andrew Scheer. Way to go. Trudeau is now damned if he does, damned if he don't. Well played. Congrats. I can't wait to see this play out. Well, that's all I have for today. Like if you like, share, comment, and of course, subscribe. And remember, working together, we can help keep Canada free. Thank you, and have a good day.